Social cohesion.
Social cohesion.
Social cohesion.
Social cohesion. Social cohesion.
Social cohesion.
Social cohesion. Social cohesion is the extent to which a community is at unity. It is the prospect that all disparities are resolved and that society is free from polarization. For a peaceful society and establishing robust relationships across all groups within a community, the purpose of this essay is to discuss the importance of social cohesion and how it could be applied to break down barriers within the context of New Zealand. The first method is to encourage social cohesion by realizing the need to establish dominant values. This is a fundamental pillar to achieve social cohesion. Dominant values are values in society that are highly valued overall by everyone in spite of one's differing beliefs. In fact, the philosophical analysis of society is a permanent union of men who are united by modes of behavior that are demanded by some common end, value, or interest. Only once New Zealand has cultivated the common good, then society can fruition into cohesion. Values can be split into different branches: political values, social values, and moral values. Political law being fairness and equality, social values such as respect, kindness, and one's own ideologies, and moral values is such as compassion. Secondly, society needs to trust one another. This idea is called social trust, whereby the concept of integrity and honesty are clearly displayed through the mutual trust of each other. Kindness serves as the basis for this social trust, as it evokes a feeling of mutual respect towards one another. The idea of social trust should be cultivated within New Zealand society, as it serves as a catalyst for social cohesion. When trust is absent from society, we are likely to disengage our efforts to contribute towards society. Instead, there is a lingering feeling of disconnection. Relationships become strained, and barriers between communities heighten. Trust ties in hands with feelings of safety. However, as much as we would like to embrace the idea of social cohesion, it may never be fully achieved. Just a few years ago, New Zealand saw the surge of anti-vaccine protests in response to the vaccine mandates. Increasingly violent demonstrations saw the disruption of many people's lives across the countries. Veronica, a protester in Wellington, expressed the frustration of how her job was sacrificed due to the vaccine mandates and had caused division in society. This depicts how our individuality will always create some division in society, whether pushed by political, economical, or social tension. Friction within communities is inevitable. It's human nature. There is no one like another, meaning total cohesion is not in parallel with any country, let alone New Zealand.
The third method to encourage social cohesion within communities is kindness. Often, seeing others perform an act of goodness to one another establishes a sense of contentment that is almost palpable, that it drives ourselves to do good. Psychologists call this moral elevation, which is the feeling of appreciation after witnessing an act of kindness. At the peak of the coronavirus in early 2020, a volunteer group was established by Jane Limer in the United Kingdom to support those in her community struggling with the lockdown. Her volunteer group delivered medications, parcels, books, and even made regular phone calls to elderly residents. Limer said, "Right from the beginning, people wanted to help. Within just a day of setting up Calder Community Cares, we had people registering for support, but that was quickly matched by the number of people asking to volunteer. Some of the people who initially signed up to receive support have then gone on to volunteer themselves." Kindness really does beget kindness. This truly conveys the immeasurable, influential acts of kindness that are imperative to a cohesive society and how it pushes one to do good. Communities could apply the moral principle of kindness by attending volunteering events as a way to give back to the community. Lastly, civilians need to realize that each individual has a civic responsibility. As humans, we are biologically, cognitively, and psychologically wired to feel the need to belong. Being in a community, one should feel attachment to a collective identity. One should feel included in society. feel the value and purpose of their existence, especially for children. The young are our future, and the future are our youth.
But as is most of the case, it is much easier said than done. Hence, our government harbors some responsibility as well as the individual to facilitate for the common good of the people. To a certain extent, our government's responsibility is to oversee the resolvement of ideological conflicts. But how does our government resolve such nuanced issues when it itself is composed of people, which is known for being subjective and where no one is like another? When asked how to ensure groups maintain their individuality while coexisting among so many diverse ideologies and perspectives, Labour Representative Shannon Hulbert told us,
go back to wanting to celebrate people for who they are and enabling them to live the lives that they want to live. As long as it doesn't cause harm to others, then everyone has the right to live who they are. So when people might say negative things towards the rainbow community or towards the Māori community, I don't accept that, and I will always challenge that. But at the same time, they have the right to their own views, as long as they just don't cause harm to others. And I think that's the really important part of how we build strong social cohesion in Aotearoa, because hate is not a good thing.
and right he is. Hate is a very dangerous thing. And the government has such the ability and influence to mitigate such a negative and violent force. Although we may not realize it, the government has such an overwhelming impact on the lives of its citizens. From choosing which items to tax, to choosing whether or not to include gender-inclusive facilities, to even choosing how to spend taxpayer money, the government can choose what type of society it wants to facilitate. And this power and influence should be used to creating a more harmonious, cohesive society. But vice versa, the government can also use this influence negatively and reduce social cohesion, for example, by enacting discriminatory policies. Enacting laws or policies that favor certain groups over the others based on race, religion, ethnicity, or socioeconomic status, or gender, etc., can create feelings of exclusion and resentment among marginalized groups already. This can lead to social fragmentation and tension. Furthermore, their influence alone can create tension. It does not necessarily have to be manifested through policies. For example, when former President Donald Trump called the coronavirus the, quote, Chinese virus, the U.S. saw a near 300% increase in Asian hate crimes. The government has the ability to set up the status quo, which it can use to influence people to strive for the better, which it should. If a government has the good of its people in mind, which, mind you, is its responsibility, its top priority should be improving society and the quality of life. And the way to achieve that is through peace and unity, which is why social cohesion is so important. Especially since Aotearoa is so diverse and relatively young, it has so much potential, and it is up to the individual, the community, and the government to all maintain this civic responsibility for us to create a society of unity and social cohesion. Hi everyone, this is a little silly post-production note from me and Alicia. Thank you guys for watching. We put a lot of effort into these videos, especially because we gotta balance a lot of stuff like studying and our extracurriculars, but it's really fun to make them. and I hope you like watching them too. And if you do like watching them, have you thought about liking the video or maybe subscribing to us? That would help us out a lot because this is actually our cast project. But we wanna do it after cast too because we're really passionate about talking about stuff. We're chronic yappers. Anyways, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you all in the next episode.